Okay. One last reminder. Can you guys please keep your videos on? Shikhar, Isali, Raido, Ananya has a problem with her video. But everybody else, please keep your videos on. And what I was asking was, what is that? Okay, understood. What is that we did in the last class? And like I was leaning on you guys to help me remind or help me recollect what we did in the last class. We were talking about polynomial long division. How do we factorize a polynomial using the long division method, or by using what we already knew with respect to quadratic equation, either by mapping it to algebraic identity or by mapping it to by mapping it to the standard form of the polynomial or quadratic expression, or by using the long division method. Now quick update for you guys is, as you would know, this class is not only algebra 2 class, this is algebra 2 plus geometry. So sometimes you will see me pick up some geometry topics also. Okay? Is that okay? And what that means is, you guys can also pick up topics from geometry and you can let me know in advance, okay sir, can we cover this particular topic from geometry? Otherwise I will go with my flow, or I will go with whatever I get as a request from kids. Alright? So here comes Anand. Yeah, alright. So Anand, before you join, I was just setting the context with everybody that this is a algebra 2 class and it has algebra 2 and geometry both in scope. Okay. So we will cover algebra 2 as well as we will cover some of the topics from geometry as well, depending on who gives me some or who put the teacher to task. Okay. So once you guys tell me that okay, I want to cover this particular topic of geometry, we will talk about it. Alright? So Anand, I know you are very keen on joining this class from a geometry point of view. Yeah? And you can unmute yourself also. We are talking to you people right now. Yeah. Can you hear me okay? Is it good?
I may have forgot my pencil.
Say one more time.
I may have forgot my pencil.
Okay, you can get one. Just 1 second. Yeah. So you are not able to hear me okay? Anand, were you able to hear me okay or not really? Okay. Is everybody able to hear me okay? Ansika, Sangita, Ananya? Yes, Anand, go ahead. Can you hear me okay now? Okay, wonderful. So what I was saying, Anand, was that this class is algebra 2 and geometry combined. And algebra 2 has much more vast syllabus. That's why primarily I am covering algebra 2, but in between, if you guys have any topic from geometry that you want to cover, you have to just let me know a couple of days in advance and I'll make sure that those are getting covered as well. Okay? So I'll keep playing the sequence of topics. Ultimately, the idea is everybody should learn from what we do in this class. Alright? Alright. Now, Anand, a point for you to be aware of. Right now, whatever, I don't know why everybody is hiding from you except Ansika and Ram here in the class. Everybody keep your videos on, okay? This is the minimum I need to establish that handshake between the teacher and the student. Okay. So, there are a couple of things that I would want Anand you to be aware of, because it's your first class. That in this class, I don't expect any of you to be busy taking notes when I'm saying something. Your focus would be only on following the concepts, arguing the concepts with me, making sure that you get the concept right. Okay? I'm not a great teacher, I keep messing up. If I'm messing up something, if I'm getting you confused, you will ask questions, ask me for clarification. Okay? If I give you any formula and say, well, this is the formula, memorize it, you will see why this formula exists. Can you explain that a little bit more? Okay? So our focus is only on concept. And whatever I do in the class, you will forget, like every human does. That's why I am getting recorded right now. Me and the board are getting recorded. You will have a video of the class that you can watch later on and make your own summary of what we learned in the class in your own sweet way. Okay? So you will find me on YouTube, and I don't have a lot of subscribers. Only my kids are my subscribers. Okay? That's the beauty of this YouTube channel. Alright? So that was the preaching that I do before I start the class. For every time I have a new child in the class. And you guys are like my kids. That's how I treat you all. Okay? So treat me like a support system. Ask questions whenever something is not clear. Okay? Keep my number handy with you, either with your own number, with your parents' number, whatever works. Reach out to me if you have anything that you want to clarify. Now, on this one strong or one philosophy that I believe in strongly, okay? That is, English is mother of math. That's what I keep saying always. Now, you have put two topics that you wanted to cover from geometry, okay? And when I looked at those topics, I felt that we don't really have to cover those topics. I'll tell you why. It aligns with the philosophy of English being mother of math. Let me read the topic that I got from mommy, okay? She sent me what you wanted to cover. Inductive reasoning and conjecture. Yeah? Got it. Yeah. No, that's okay, right? So that's perfectly fine. Okay? Inductive reasoning. This is the core of math. No matter whether we are doing geometry, whether we are doing trigonometry, whether we are doing algebra, whether we are doing advanced math. Inductive reasoning is going to be part of our life for everything that we do in math. What does inductive reasoning do? It just helps us derive a pattern based on the information we get. Okay? And that could be in the form of any particular topic that you are dealing with on that given day. Yeah? So let's look at a very simple example, okay? And then we'll move on. Let's say I have just put some numbers on the screen. 1, 4, 7, 10, and then I have 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. These are the numbers I have put on the screen. Okay? It has no bias, no bearing with any particular topic. I'm just seeing numbers. And as soon as we all see numbers on the screen, our brain starts working on it. To understand what exactly these are hinting at. Now, without you and I discussing, when I say you and I, meaning me and one of you, or each one of you, our brain is working in isolation, okay? This certain pattern that we see here. When I go from 1 to 4, there is a difference of 3. 4 to 7, again a difference of 3. 7 to 10, there is a difference of 3. If somebody asks me to find out the fifth number, I'll just add 3 more to it, that will be my next number. This is inductive reasoning. We are seeing a pattern based on what we have as information. We are trying to derive a pattern out of it. That is nothing but inductive reasoning. Same way here, 2 to 4, there is a difference of 2. 4 to 8, difference of 4. 8 to 16, there is a difference of 8. 16 to 32, there is a difference of 16. Oh, the difference thing is not working. But we see another pattern. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. Oh, so this is the pattern. Every subsequent number is derived by multiplying the previous number by 2. Yeah? So this is nothing but, see again, you don't need a teacher for this. Our brains are self-sufficient for dealing with this. So, inductive learning is nothing but the interpretation of the pattern we derive from the information that we have at hand, and that would be for any and every subject that we deal with. Okay? Be it algebra, be it even physics, even if you are dealing with biology or geometry or trigonometry or social studies, every information helps you derive a pattern based on how you interpret things. That is part of inductive reasoning. When your reasoning is getting induced by the information that you have. Yeah. Similarly, conjectures are nothing but the derivative from this reasoning. Let's say, if I am talking about, or in simple words, if I say based on the information I have, if I am able to derive or come up with 4 or 5 different patterns, those are the conjectures or the outcome from the inductive reasoning. So that's a very high level view of it, Anand, okay, to begin with. And I have requested Mami to check with you and send me some questions or problems relating to this one that we can look at. I just set the context here, okay? And once you come across certain problems, you can send it to me or send me the topic. These are not the topics by itself. It doesn't belong to a subject. It is just a way of thinking, right? That's why it is. So that's why we will not have any specific problems here. If you have some problems that you want to cover, I will certainly be more than happy to double click on those problems and come up with a game plan for solving those. Yeah. Make sense? So now Anand had 2 topics in mind that we just talked about, just to put our head together around this one. So Srikhar, Ananya, Sika, Disali, Vasundhara, Samhita, and Ram here. Whatever I talked about, was that making sense to you guys, or I was talking gibberish? I'm getting a thumbs up when I use the word gibberish. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. So again, keep it as light as possible so that we can enjoy the concept that we learn. And one more gentle, friendly reminder to everybody: please keep your videos on unless you are literally pissed off with your videos. Now I'm playing with emotions. I'm saying that if you are pissed off with the teacher, then only you are keeping your video off. So let's see who all of you acknowledge that you are pissed off with your videos. Okay, I'm just kidding. Don't take it seriously. Now, what is that we are going to cover today? We are going to learn a very interesting magical formula that is called, I forgot the name of the formula. That is the problem with age. Right? When you start getting older, you start forgetting more. We will talk about the polynomial remainder theorem. And this is like a magic wand. Polynomial remainder theorem. Forget about which topic it relates to, whether it's algebra, trigonometry, geometry. I'm just saying that this polynomial remainder theorem is like a magic trick. Okay? What does it say? Is anybody in the class aware of what exactly it is? Anybody? What is a polynomial remainder theorem? Srikhar, Vasundhara, Samhita, Tarun, Ananya, Disali. No? I'm feeling jealous of Srikhar right now. See, I cannot flex my head. Alright. So, okay, coming back to a serious discussion. What does polynomial remainder theorem say is, let's say you have a polynomial described as f of x equal to something, let's say 4x square minus 2x plus 18. Okay? You have a polynomial or a function defined as f of x equal to 4x square minus 2x plus 18. What this guy says is, if you divide this f of x by x minus a. So this function is described in the form of x. Okay? This is x your input, and this is your condition for the function, or the definition for this function. The polynomial remainder theorem says that if you have f of x equal to something, an expression, polynomial expression, and if you divide that by x minus a, your remainder would be equal to f of a. Now let's relate that practically. Let's say you are trying to divide f of x by x minus 4. Okay? Your remainder would be the evaluated value of function for x equal to 4. Or what I am saying is, if I am dividing f of x, which is described as 4x square minus 2x plus 18 by x minus 4, my remainder would be equal to f of 4, meaning evaluated value of the function for x equal to 4. Look at this, how much it is. 4 times x square, which is 4 square, minus 2 times 4 plus 18. This became 4 times 4 square. 4 square 16 times 4 is 64, minus 8 plus 18. So this becomes 74. So what it is saying is, if you divide 4x square minus 2x plus 18 by x minus 4, it is predicting the remainder, saying that okay, you will have a remainder of 74. After you do long division here of this expression by x minus 4, you are already predicting your remainder here 74. Or in other words, if you are dividing this by 2, you are saying that your remainder would be equal to f of 2. And put 2 x equal to 2 here. 4 into 2 square is 4. 4 times 4 is 16 minus 4, 12 plus 18. You can say that when you are dividing this polynomial by this polynomial, your remainder is going to be 30. Or if I write it mathematically, you will say f of x is equal to, let's say I will say p of x. P of x is nothing but, when I am trying to divide something by another polynomial, I will get a result, right? This is my result, times x minus a plus f of a. And it might be sounding cryptic right now. Okay? If it is sounding cryptic, let's keep this formula aside. Okay? Let's not worry about this one right now. Only thing that we keep in mind is this polynomial remainder theorem that says that if you have any polynomial that you are dividing by x minus a, here my a is 2, it could be any value, it could be 8, it could be 6, it could be whatever. So it says if you are dividing a polynomial by x minus a, your remainder would be the evaluated value of the function for the value of a. So let me give you an example here. Let's say I have a function defined as f of x equal to x squared plus 4x. Okay? If I am trying to divide this by x minus 1, if I divide x squared plus 4x by x minus 1, or divide this guy by x minus 1, it says my remainder after doing all the calculation would be equal to f of 1, meaning I will evaluate this for x equal to 1. So this is 1 plus 4 times 1 is 4. So I will have a remainder of 5. This is what this guy is predicting. If I divide this by x minus 5, this says my remainder would be equal to f of 5, which is 5 squared plus 4 times 5, 20. 25 plus 20, 45. If I divide this by x minus 2, my remainder would be equal to f of 2, which will be 2 square plus 4 times 2, which is 4 plus 8, 12. Are you able to relate? Yeah? Slicker? Little bit? Okay. So, polynomial remainder, okay. So, let me, okay, I get you. Okay. So, again, I know, and this, not every concept goes in one go, okay. So, sometimes it's like drinking a strong medicine. You take the first sip, it bothers you. Take the second sip, you know that it is for your good. Second sip, it gets a little bit easier. Third sip, more comfortable. By fourth sip, you know that okay, this is good for you and you can digest, you can accept it. So this is like a strong medicine right now. Let me go slowly. So polynomial remainder theorem. Polynomial remainder theorem. Now I'm going back to my original narrative. That English is the mother of polynomial remainder theorem. What did I say? English is the mother of math. Meaning, whatever term we come across, if we can figure out the meaning of it, we'll be able to connect the dots. Polynomial remainder theorem. Meaning there is a theorem that is talking about remainder from polynomial division. When I am dividing one polynomial by another polynomial, what will be my remainder? This theorem is able to predict. Yeah, at least narrative part. Okay, let's not worry about the solution. If I have any polynomial, which I am writing, let's say my polynomial is x cube plus 4x squared minus 18, and I am trying to divide that by x minus 6. So this polynomial remainder theorem says whatever polynomial you are trying to divide by another polynomial in the form of x minus a, the remainder of this would be equal to f of a. Here my value is 6. In place of a, I will replace this with a 6 and evaluate this value of the polynomial for 6. So when you are dividing one polynomial by another polynomial which is in the form of x minus a, this will give me a remainder of f of a, the evaluated value of the polynomial for that a. That's it. Yeah? So let me do one thing. Even if I keep talking about it for next 1 hour, I would not make enough sense. The best way to decode the understanding is by muddling the water. Meaning we will look at some problems and then we will see how we are relating to it. So I will try solving the first problem and then I will let you guys struggle with it and I will come here as tutorial. Okay? So tell me, anybody in the class who has understood 5% or 10% of what I have blabbered so far? 5 to 10% okay? Ansika? Shikhar? Ram? Ananya? Disali? Anand? 5%? I'm not asking for more. Okay. So this answer is 5 to 10%, 15%, okay? Less than that, okay? We'll see. Okay. So, Thanu, 5 to 10%, is that a decent understanding, assumption? Thanu and Samhita? Okay. So let me do one thing. I'll pick up one problem, okay? And we'll try solving it as if I have not taught you guys anything. And then I will let you guys deal with some more problems. The question says Px is a polynomial equal to 3x to the power 4 minus 2x cubed plus 2x squared minus 1. What is the remainder? What is the remainder when Px is divided by x plus 1. It is just asking us, this is my polynomial Px, 3x to the power 4 minus 2x cube plus 2x square minus 1. And when this is divided by x plus 1, what is the remainder? Okay. So polynomial, we have a polynomial, we are dividing by the polynomial, we have to find out the remainder. My best bet is polynomial remainder theorem if I don't know about it. I can always divide and find it out, but we are going to use the understanding from polynomial remainder theorem. Okay. And what I recall, I know I was not successful in explaining it to you guys 100%, but whatever I understood, I'm going to apply that. Polynomial remainder theorem says that if I divide a polynomial by x minus a, then my remainder would be equal to p of a, meaning evaluated value of the polynomial for the given value of a. So here I am dividing this by x plus a. So my a here is nothing but minus 1. That is how x minus a is giving me x plus 1. Is that okay? I'm trying. So here it's asking me to divide this polynomial by x plus a. I'm trying to find out what is my a here. My a has to be minus 1. That is how x minus a will give me x plus 1. So that's why I'm saying my a is nothing but minus 1 here. That is how I'm getting x plus 1. So that's what I'm going to divide by. So I'm just relating what is my value of a. My value of a here, if I have to relate that with the polynomial remainder theorem, is minus 1. So my remainder would be equal to the evaluated value of the polynomial for minus 1. What is the value of the polynomial, or what is the evaluated? Come on, this guy is not listening to me. So what is p of minus 1 we have to find out. That will be my remainder as per the polynomial remainder theorem. I looked at a polynomial, we are trying to divide by x plus 1, and we have always looked, polynomial remainder theorem says that it has to be x minus a form. So whatever I have here, from that I am trying to find out what is my a, which is minus 1. So I am trying to evaluate for minus 1, meaning everywhere I have x, I will replace that with minus 1. Minus 2x minus 1 to the power 3 plus 2x is minus 1 square and then minus 1. This became 3 into minus 1 to the power 4, that is a plus 1. So 3 minus 2 into minus 1 to the power 3, that becomes minus 1. So minus 1 to minus 2 becomes plus 2. And then this is 2 into minus 1 square. Minus 1 square will give me a 1. So 1 times 2 is 2. And then I have 1 here. So 3 plus 2 plus 2 minus 1. 3 plus 2 5 plus 2 7 minus 1 6. My remainder is going to be 6. Without me doing the long division. Again repeating myself. The polynomial remainder theorem says that if you have a remainder, you are trying to divide that by x minus a, your remainder will be equal to p of a, meaning evaluated value of the polynomial for the given value of a, meaning whatever you are trying to divide by, find out the a and evaluate this polynomial for that value of a. That's what I did. Did I go from 5% to 15%, or I'm still hovering at 5%? Huh? 50%? You're feeling sleepy? One long day? Okay. Alright. Tanu, did I go from 5 to 15%, or I'm still at 5%? 10%? How about Anand, Asika? No. Okay. No, nobody is stupid here. Okay. So I'll tell you guys one thing. There's one rule of thumb that we follow in the class. All of us, whoever makes more mistakes, opens up more opportunities for learning. Okay. So be proud of making mistakes. Okay. That's what we do. So let me park this one right now here. We will go back to what we have done with respect to polynomial long division and revalidate whether my remainder is 6 or not, and then we'll come back to this number. Okay? So what we were trying to do was, my answer is 6. Okay, I'm writing it in this corner so that you don't lose track of it. What is my answer here? The answer from whatever nonsense I did here is to figure out, if I divide this polynomial by x plus 1, what is going to be my remainder. And by applying the polynomial remainder theorem, I got 6. Okay? And if I made sense, I did not make sense, just remember that number 6 for a little bit. Okay? Everybody. The number 6. I've noted down here. Let me create some real estate, and then we'll use this space for actually solving this problem. Alright? What is that we are trying to do? We are trying to divide this guy by x plus 1 to find out what is the remainder, meaning what is the end point where we will not going to divide it further. Yeah? So let's try dividing 3x to the power 4 minus 2x cubed plus 2x squared minus 1 by x plus 1. And we'll see what is the remainder we are getting. Is everybody okay? Tanu, Ramita, Shikhar, Anand, Vasundhara? Okay. So now, this is pure play polynomial long division that we are doing. And what this tells us is, we'll only be concerned about knocking off the highest degree of the variable in one go. So here, my first attempt would be to knock off the highest value of x, then this one, then this one, then this one. So what is that I multiply this guy with, so that I can get rid of the x to the power 4? Obviously, I can multiply this by 3x cubed. When I multiply this guy with 3x cubed, this becomes 3x to the power 4 and then 3x cubed. So 3x to the power 4 can be removed by multiplying by 3x cubed. And then this next term is 3x cubed times 1. So this is 3x cubed. So what I have done is, I multiplied this term with the coefficient which will help me get rid of this guy. Okay? So this is what I got. Now let's subtract. I am doing long division now. This becomes minus, this is minus. These two guys will get knocked off. What we are left with here? Minus 2x cubed and minus 3x cubed. So that gives me minus 5x cubed. We will slide down the next number, which is plus 2x squared. Okay. Now our focus has shifted from x to the power 4 to x to the power 3, because the highest power is knocked off. Our focus shifted to this guy. So we will try finding out ways to knock off this guy. What do I do, or what do I multiply this guy with to get a 5x to the power 3? I have x here. If I multiply this by minus 5x squared, that will make my first term as 5x to the power 3 minus 5x to the power 3. And then second term will be minus 5x squared. Minus 5x squared. Are you guys following me so far? Ansika, Ranya, everybody? Is following? So Anand, while this is your first class and you might be struggling to catch up with the way I articulate things, so that is why after the class, when you watch the video with a much more calm and composed setup, and then try scribbling through it, it will start making more sense. Okay? Just me telling the story would probably not make enough sense, but when you guys start doing the dirty job, you will see that you are able to relate to it. Okay? So that's where the video will help. But for now, let's look at it. I'm just stitching my story one more time. We were trying to divide this polynomial by x plus 1, and this is a method for long division. What do I multiply this guy to get rid of the first term, which is x to the power 4? My x value is only x, so I can multiply this by 3x to the power 3, so that I get equivalent term here, which I can subtract and get rid of. So I use first term as 3x to the power 3, and when I multiplied that by this, I got 3x to the power 4 plus 3x cubed. And now I'm subtracting, like we do regular division. So these two guys got knocked off, and this became minus 5x cubed. Now my focus is to get rid of this guy. How do I get rid of this guy? I have to multiply x with 5x minus 5x squared. That is how I have the same term here. And then when you are multiplying 5 squared with this, you get also minus 5x squared here. Now we are subtracting this guy. So these two will get knocked off, and this became 7x squared. And then this guy minus 1 slides down. Now what do I multiply this guy with to get rid of the power of x? Obviously I have only x here. If I multiply this by 7x or plus 7x, I will have equivalent power of x. So 7x times this guy becomes 7x squared, and 7x, what did I do? Okay, yeah, fine. 7x squared, 7x into 7 into x is 7x squared, plus 7x into 1 gives me plus 7x. Now I'm subtracting this one. Minus 7x squared, this becomes minus, these two guys get knocked off. What we are left with? Minus 7x minus 1. Now we are trying to find out what do I multiply this guy with to get a minus 7x. So obviously I have x. If I multiply this by minus 7, I will get minus 7x and minus 1. Minus 1 into 7, that is minus 7. Now this becomes plus, these two guys get knocked off. Now what do I have? Minus 7 plus 1, which is equal to 6. This became my remainder. Now if you scroll it to the top, what did polynomial remainder theorem say? This is my remainder 6. This guy is matching with this guy. Now for everybody, what is our motivation for even learning this polynomial remainder theorem? I could find out the remainder after doing all this circus for 5 minutes. Wherein, just by leveraging the polynomial remainder theorem, I could get this answer. Okay, fine. If I am dividing this by x plus 1, that means my a is nothing but minus 1. Let's evaluate this polynomial for a equal to minus 1. So e of minus 1. We said okay, minus 1. 3 into minus 1 to the power 4 plus minus 2 into minus 1 to the power 3 plus 2 into minus 1 to the power 2 plus minus 1. This gave me plus 1, so this is 3. This gave me minus 1, this became minus 1 into minus 2 became plus 2. And this gave me plus 1, so 2 into 2 plus 1 is 2, minus 1. 3 plus 2 plus 2, 7, minus 1, 6. We got this answer in one go here by applying polynomial remainder theorem, wherein if we tried doing the long division, it took us a little bit more effort. Yeah? I know I was rushing through it to convince you guys. Tell me who all was able to make 30% sense out of what I said or what I did. I'm not asking for 100%. 30% is more than enough. Right. So, see again. Yeah. No, so we don't have to remember anything. I'm just trying to break down the things. Okay. I'm kind of selling the polynomial remainder theorem right now. I'm trying to convince you guys that why do we even need to worry about it? Just that we say something interesting. Yeah. No, that's okay. But my question to you guys is that did it make sense to you a little bit or not really? Ananya, Disali, Ansika, Shekhar, Sundara, Amrita, Nobody? Okay, let me stitch the story now. What was our ask? We have to be very clear about the ask. Our ask was that I have a polynomial. I'm trying to divide that polynomial by x plus 1. And the question is, what will be my remainder? We have two options. Either we use the long division method to find out the remainder, meaning where we will get stuck, after which we will not be able to divide further. using the long division method. Polynomial remainder theorem says, hey, don't worry about it. If you are dealing with polynomial and you are trying to divide your polynomial by something which is in the form of x minus a, your remainder would always be the evaluated value of the polynomial for the value of a. That's it. So you have to find out what you are trying to divide your polynomial by in this form and what is the value of a. Once you have the value of a, plug that into your polynomial and evaluate your polynomial for that value, and that will be a remainder. So before I got into this styling job, I was explaining you guys what is polynomial remainder theorem. Polynomial remainder theorem says that if you have a polynomial, if you are trying to divide that by something which is in the form of x minus a, your remainder will be equal to the evaluated value of the polynomial for a. Yeah? Ansika, is it making little more sense? I'm just incrementally trying to be little more relevant to you guys. That's all. Srikar, Vasundhara, everybody okay? Sanvita, little bit? Okay. So, this was our shortcut to find out the remainder. Now, we said, okay, why should we believe this remainder theorem? That is when we said, okay, fine. I have a polynomial, I am going to divide by this. Let me divide and find out by regular division, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. These are 4 key operations that we will keep on doing for the rest of our life. We just applied the long division technique to find out the remainder. We got the same remainder actually. And it was a little more tidy. So that's why when we are just exam scenario, when we are hard pressed for every minute that we spend, this theorem will do wonders for us. It will help us find out the remainder real quick, if it is an ask. Yeah? At least I just want you guys to be convinced about why we are even learning this in the first place. If we know the motivation, then we will be able to figure out a way to spend effort for this. If you don't have the motivation, there is no point. Right? Now the next thing is, why should we believe this theorem in the first place? I mean, we saw it, we saw a solution and we could compare it. That is convincing, but is that the most generalized form? Everybody is thinking. Mr. Rao, let me go over here.
Yeah.
Just give me 5 seconds, guys.
Oh,
I know it gets very demanding for you guys once you join high school.
I not realize this.
Okay.
Those are.
So now I'm taking you guys. Okay, so Tanu, Sanvita, am I okay to continue or it has already gotten very overwhelming for everybody? Overwhelming? A little bit. Okay. Sanvita, Isali. So again, you will see me doing same boring, tiring stuff. I'll repeat myself. So from the polynomial remainder theorem, what we learned was, if I have a polynomial, anything, it could be anything. Okay. What does polynomial remainder theorem say? That if you have a polynomial of this nature or this complexity and you are trying to divide that by, let's say, x minus 2, polynomial remainder theorem says that you don't have to do anything fancy here. Your remainder would be equal to p of 2 because this is x minus a form. This is a. You just evaluate your polynomial for a and that will be your remainder always for this value. If you are trying to divide this same polynomial by, let's say, x minus 10, then your remainder would be p of 10, meaning you will just evaluate this polynomial for x equal to 10 and whatever value comes from that, that will be a remainder. That's what polynomial remainder theorem says. Okay? I don't see convinced faces, and that's where I start getting worried. Ansika, is it getting a little bit better? More than 35-40%? Okay. Ananya, Visali. So Anand, this is your first class, okay? And you would see this is one perennial problem that I have got. I don't feel comfortable till I see that the class is cruising along with me. There could be some difficult concepts that would not make sense in one go, unless we muddy the water, unless we practice some more problems. So that's why I'm nudging everybody to get their feedback before I move on. I'm not in a hurry to complete something. I can complete the whole syllabus in 2 months. What is the take of it? Waste of time. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of completing anything. I'm a big fan of enjoying something. Okay. So that's why I'm forcing everybody. So Sundara, am I making sense better? I mean, just be a candid. You can say that today's class was a horrible setup. You learned nothing today. That's okay. I'm brave enough to hear those feedback. See, the feedback came when I said horrible. Is that what means, Sundara? Is it making sense? Okay, all right. You guys are my babies, okay, don't worry about it. I'll keep bugging you guys to keep it right. Now, so this is what the polynomial remainder theorem says. Now, the next thing I want to do is, before we try solving few problems, I want to convince ourselves to see, is this formula generic enough? Is this theorem generic enough that can be used in every circumstance, under every scenario? So what this theorem says is, look at this. This was my polynomial. If I am dividing that by x minus a, then my remainder would be evaluated value of a. If I write that the equation form, what it means is x squared minus 9x to the power 6 plus 4x cubed plus 2x minus 1. This is my polynomial. This is equal to, let's say when I divide the polynomial by this guy, I got some answer. Let's say I am saying I got k as my answer. So k times x minus a plus p of a. I have just written this in the form of an equation. Okay, let me not write this equation. This is, if this is my polynomial x, that will be equal to, when I am dividing this by x minus a, I got this as the answer and this as the remainder. Correct? So, I am just trying to think that under what circumstances this I'm just thinking of the story that I want to stitch here, or I want to narrate here. Okay. So this is my value. This is my original polynomial. When I divide it by this, I got this as the answer, and this is the remainder. Okay. Okay. Now I'm saying, under what circumstances I will have no remainder. Meaning, my remainder is 0, meaning when I have a perfect solution. When I divided this guy with x minus a, I got a 0 remainder. Okay? When that would happen? My remainder would be 0 when that is, when my remainder would be 0 if and only if I am able to divide it with this in a perfect way. So I can break this whole polynomial into this form. Some constant time this is equal to my polynomial. I'm just thinking it loud right now. I'll probably pause here. This guy will make little more sense to us after we solve few problems. So I'm pausing this proof for a little bit, okay? I want to muddle the water. I want you guys to solve few problems relating to this polynomial remainder theorem, and then we'll come back to this theory. That is when it makes more sense, because so far it has been more like a theory discussion, and math doesn't do well with only theory. It has a lot of practical elements to it. So I'll come back to this one, okay? Let me pause this one here. Let's do one thing. We have only 5 more minutes left for the class. So today we'll try solving at least one more problem, okay? Maybe you guys will not be able to put much effort for this one. I will guide you guys through it. It will probably not make you think. And then after we solve 3-4 problems between today and the next class, then we'll come back to the proof one more time. Okay? So let me put the next question here, okay? We'll try solving this one. This question says, I have polynomial p of x equal to x to the power 4 minus 2x to the power 3 plus kx minus 4, where k is an unknown integer. K is an unknown integer. We don't know what is the value of k. Px is divided by x minus 1. Px, the polynomial is divided by x minus 1, has a remainder of 0. When Px, this polynomial is divided by x minus 1, it has a remainder of 0. What is the value of k? This is interesting. So I'm reading the question one more time. This is my polynomial, x to the power 4 minus 2x cubed plus 4kx minus 4. It says that this polynomial is divided by x minus 1, the remainder is 0. What is the value of k? Let's see how you guys are approaching this. I'll give you guys a minute to think about it. Don't worry about solving it. Tell me how you are approaching it. That's what I'm more interested in here. Ansika, Visali, Anand, Anvita. Again, nothing right or wrong. Okay? Whatever comes to your mind, that's okay. You came across a new theorem 30 minutes ago, and I'll be highly unfair if I expect you guys to become a champion in this 30 minutes. I'm not that great a teacher for sure. What would come to your mind? Tell me. Vasundhara, Shikhar, Visali, anybody? Okay, now here's the magic trick. Magic trick that you guys all know except Anand. My magic trick is this. When you are dealing with any problem, if you read the same problem 2 or 3 times, you will see the problem becomes half difficult. Just reading the problem carefully makes the problem less difficult. And that's a universal truth. Let me apply that here. I'm reading this question here, okay? I will solve it for you guys, and in the next class we'll have more opportunity for solving it. This one says, this is the polynomial px x to the power 4 minus 2x cubed plus kx minus 4 is divided by x minus 1, and in this case k is an unknown integer. When px is divided by x minus 1, it has a remainder of 0. What is the value of k? One last time reading it. This is a polynomial px equal to x to the power 4 minus 2x cubed plus kx minus 4, where k is an unknown integer. When this polynomial is divided by x minus 1, the remainder is 0. What is the value of k? Now you guys have heard this question enough from me and you are getting bored and tired. When I get this question for the fourth time, what I realized was, okay, this is a polynomial given to me where this coefficient is k is an unknown integer. We'll figure out what exactly it is. And what its transformation has given is, this whole polynomial is divided by x minus 1 to get a remainder of 0. So if I go back to my polynomial remainder theorem, what does it say? If I have any polynomial, if I divide that by x minus a, my remainder is equal to the evaluated value of the polynomial for a. Here what is my a? We are dividing by x minus 1. That means my a is equal to 1. And what it is saying is my remainder is equal to p of a as per the polynomial remainder theorem. And here it says when you are dividing this polynomial by this, your remainder is 0, meaning p of a is 0. Now let's look at what is the value of p of a. When a is 1, so I'll plug in p of 1 as per the remainder theorem. When I'm dividing this polynomial by this has to be my remainder, p of a. P of 1 will be my remainder, which is equal to 1 to the power 4 minus 2, 1 into 1 to the power 3 minus plus kx, plus k into 1 minus 4. And this is told that p of my remainder when I am dividing by x minus 1 is actually 0. So my remainder as per the polynomial remainder theorem for p of 1 will be this one, which is given as 0. So let's look at this. 1 to the power 4 is 1 minus 2 becomes 2 plus k minus 4 is equal to 0. So this is 1 minus 6. So this became 1 minus 6, that is minus 5. So k minus 5 is equal to 0. So k is equal to 5 goes to the side, becomes plus 5. So what did I do? This was the polynomial given to us where k was an unknown integer, and it was saying that when you divide this polynomial by x minus 1, this is given as 0. If we don't look at this value for now, we know from polynomial remainder theorem is when you divide this by x minus a, the remainder will be equal to x of p of a, which is 1 in this case. So we first found out what is the value of p of 1. That came as k minus 5. And it is already told that when you are dividing this by this, you are getting a 0. So we compared that with 0, from that we found the value of k. Did that make sense to some of you? Some of you. A little bit. Visali, Samhita, Tanu. I see Anand has a little bit more homework to be done with respect to watching the video. Okay. So again, so don't watch 3 times. What I would say is, see, this is a technique for using the video. Okay. Start the video, whatever I'm coming to. Okay, this is polynomial remainder theorem. This is what it says. Okay, you note it down. Okay, this is my understanding of polynomial remainder theorem. Let me write it down. This is my polynomial. What is x minus a here? Okay, that means I'm dividing by x minus something, and that something is my a. Okay, let me plug that in here. So you go slow. You don't have to watch from beginning to end and then you do in cycles. That will probably get you more confused. You follow the sequence of discussion actually, and then try solving some problem as you understand it. And if it doesn't make sense, don't worry. I'm not going anywhere. Next class when we meet, we will rip it off. We'll make sure that today I was just in the context. I made sure that I was trying to make sure that you understand what exactly is polynomial remainder theorem conceptually, and I tried solving some problem. Next class, I will let you guys struggle with this a little bit, and I'll try to figure out where exactly you guys are getting stuck with your approach, and that is where I'll come to simplify this for you guys further. Okay? So with that being said, I will let you guys go. If you have some evening